All right, here's your last installment of the Giphy API help videos. So what we're going to do now is we're going to just do a little bit of review. I'm going to add one more input set and just go through the whole process one more time, just to make sure everyone's on the same page. And then we will figure out how to get some additional button triggers, get our clear working, and then we'll do some other like fancy CSS stuff. Okay, so I'm going to switch back here. First thing we'll do is we'll just create another input. All right, so I'm going to be working in the HTML file, and I'm going to get rid of this screen 2 here. We'll just make a little space, and then I'll just do another set of inputs. All right, so input and button, and I'll call this input 3, input 3, word, and then button 3, screen 1. Okay, so I'm just going to go through the whole process one more time of adding all of the pieces that you need for this set in the JS. So I'll head over to my JS file. Okay, so first things first, I'm going to need a set of variables. All right, so I'm going to need 3 variables, image set or input set 3, and I'm going to name this input 3, button 3, image 3. Okay, and then I will do the updates. Okay, so updates again. Okay, so input 3, that's what I named my input variable, is going to hold my input 3 ID. Okay, so I'll put this in here. And then button 2 S1 is going to hold my, this is going to be button 3, right? Because I'm working with the set 3. Here we go. Okay. Okay, and then this I'm going to update. Let's just leave it blank for now, because I'm going to update it with a new API function. All right, so let's just check. We got input 3. Input 3 is synonymous with input 3 over here. Okay, and then we have button 3 as screen 1 is going to be button 3 screen 1. All right, and then let's update this one too. Okay, so we need to update the button 3 to be a mouse press, and then we'll pass our, once we've created the function, we'll pass it in there. So we'll down here to our API functions, copy this friend here with the comments. All right, and I will call this set 3. Okay, and we'll change the name to 3. Okay, and then we want, got to change this, so we don't want the input 2 value, we want the input 3 value. So again, input 3 here, variable. All right, because again, we have tethered this input 3 value to the actual input 3 piece of HTML, so whatever the user puts in that input box, it's going to get the value there. Okay, so let's update that. So input 3, and then we'll get the console log message as well, which will be input 3. Okay, so now I'll go back up and I will update that mouse press function call to be gif add 3. And then the other thing that I have to watch out for in this function is, again, we want to update this got data. So let's just get rid of this for now, and we'll head down here. We'll grab this function. All right, set 3. And we're going to pass it. Okay, so we're going to change the name first. So 3. We'll leave this as got data, because that's just how we're passing information in and out. So got data 3. Let's head back up here. The JSON file is going to read the URL, and it's going to read, so it's going to go into the URL and then read the specific data that we're denoting in the function here. Okay, and then the last thing we need to do with this function, right? So we updated the name, we need to change the image. Okay, so for this set of information here, we have a variable for image 3. Okay, so we'll update that. So we got image 3 here, image 3. And then we want to put this into another input, another piece of HTML. So let's check. All right, so we have input to canvas. Let's create another one. Input 3 canvas. Okay, we'll head over here. Input 3 canvas. All right. Okay, so I think we got all the parts. Maybe we missed something. Let's check. Update everything. Okay, so we have an additional input. Test. Okay, great. So we're getting the image return. So now let's go to the CSS. So again, we're going to use the piece of HTML that we're passing that image to. Again, we're doing that just to highlight. We're doing that here. The image 3 variable parent is input 3 canvas. All right, and that's going to be an ID. So let's head on over to the main CSS. All right, and we'll do input 3 canvas. And then we'll also do the, and that's going to be a hashtag. And then we'll do the input 3 canvas image. Okay, great. So maybe we want to make this one, let's make this one pretty big. All right, so let's, I'll just use some of this functionality here. All right, so I don't know, let's say we'll just make it like 3 from the top, 3 from the left, and maybe we'll rotate it, rotate 90 degrees, so it just goes sideways. Okay, and then instead of opacity, let's try something else here. So I'm going to use a browser. So, one thing I did want to highlight is for this image, for the secondary image, I put a border radius on the actual image here. All right, so check it out. Got a little border radius on the actual image for input the secondary image, the second image, so that you can also crop your images into, if you put them on the image, it'll crop them. So you can just give them like little nice roundy corners, or make it, into an oval. Or you can make it, into a more specific shape, right? So you could do border, top, left, there, radius. You can get really specific with it. So here, let's see what's going on here. So yeah, got this little rounded corner here, and obviously we could do that with the other corner as well, and maybe move this one down a little. Do it with the other corner, say like 15, and we'll do border bottom. Whoops. Bottom right. Okay. Cake. Cute. Okay, so let's see if we can figure out this this blend mode. Let's see. What do we got here? Background blend mode. Let's try that. There's another option we could try. That's mix blend mode. Okay, so container should have a background color, and the image could be mix blend mode darken. So let's see if we can get this to validate. Okay, so maybe we'll give the container, which would essentially be the image, a background color. Let's just mess with this red, and then we'll do the mix blend mode darken. Not sure why that is giving me. Okay, let's see what the web inspector has to say about that. I'm not sure why it's validating in red. That feels weird. Let's see if it breaks. So I put on this last one. I think I put on the last one, right? Yeah, okay. So let's see what's going on here. Okay, that's kind of cute. I don't know. So it's validating to red, but it's obviously working. Let's see if it's mad at us for that. So Giphy canvas 3. Yeah, it's reading it. So it's totally reading it. I don't know why it's, I'd have to Google why this is validating to red. Usually red means wrong, right, if you put something extra in here. But yeah, I think this, if it's validating, it's validating. Remember the Peter Griffin GIF. We should be okay. Okay, so that's kind of cute. That can add some special stuff to your CSS. And I don't know, since we're here fucking with CSS, let's get a little crazy and let's try an animation. If I can spell, keyframes, and let's try spin, OMG. And let's just do like, we'll just do a 0% and a hundo. And we'll just do a rotate. So we'll start it off at 90 degrees and we'll rotate it to -90, see how that works. And then we'll invoke the animation on the parent, not the image. Okay, so let's do, we're going to do animation, and we'll do the name, 2 seconds, infinite, alternate. So it'll run infinitely, and it'll alternate from 0 to 100, 100 back to 0. Okay. Cats. Oh my god. We're so cute. And then, I don't know, maybe you could also add, like, if you want to get real crazy, you could also maybe give a little opacity on the image itself so that when you call multiple images, and we could also, ooh, oh my god, we could also, we can add this animation on a couple of our other parents, and things will get extremely crazy. Oh my god. Let's just change the time functions here so we can just see some different outcomes. All right, okay, so let's do dogs, cats, birds. Cute? Cuter? Cutest. The opacity is not quite working on there, maybe because of how we've set the blend modes, but you know, maybe just try some different blend modes, try your options. Maybe if we try that opacity on the, instead of on the image, maybe if we try it on the canvas, maybe it'll validate a little better there. One more time. Dogs, cats, fish. We're cute. Great job. Okay, so there's some CSS functionality. Maybe I'll do one more video with some other little CSS goodies, but I'm kind of getting off the rails here, so I'm gonna take 5 steps back and head back to JS. So let's put this to rest for a second, and let's go back to our final web app. Okay, so we added in the third image functionality, right, with the third input. Okay. And let's add in another set of buttons. So inside of screen 1, all right, let's add in a third set of buttons, or not third set, a set of buttons, okay? So let's just add a, let's just make sure we're inside of screen 1. Okay, so I want to be inside of screen 1. All right, and I'm going to add in another, let's do ID. Well, let's just do a button. All right, and I saw a couple of you have this issue. Let's do a button class. Or actually, no, we can just style all the buttons the same way because I'm using button in CSS. So as you can see in the CSS, I'm styling, did I style button? Yeah, so I'm styling button and I'm just targeting button with no punctuation so that all the buttons have the same style. But, let's say you want these buttons to have a different style. You could give them a class of buttons red. And then you can also give them an ID so that you have a unique identifier to work with JS. And let's say button, so we got buttons 3, S1. Let's say buttons red 1. All right, and then we'll do another one here. Buttons red. Okay, so buttons red, we want to keep that the same. And then button red 2 for the unique identifier for that one. Okay, and then what we might want to do is just think about where we want these buttons to go. So for instance, if we did want them to go out on the other side of the canvas, you might want to just make a new div underneath the canvas. So for instance, you could put them here, like so. It's just how you want to organize them. But you may, if you're going to be like hiding or showing them, you may just want to wrap them in a div so that you could deal with them as like a set. So I just might wrap them in a div. I may not even invoke this. Let's just call this like other bees. Okay. All right, and then let's style this. So let's give it like almost the same style, but we will call the class. So the class is going to be buttons red. And this is going to, because I put this second, this is going to override my button style. Okay, so it's pretty important that this is first, and then this is going to override the like regular style for the button that I'm invoking here. So let's say that this is going to be red. And let's give it a background color of, oh no, so we'll do color white. So that's the font color, and then we'll give it a background color of red. Okay, great. So let's refresh. Whoops, didn't save my index. Okay, so I don't have anything in my buttons, so I just need to put some type in the inner HTML. And so let's say like, I don't know, this is going to call images of llamas. Is that how you spell llamas? Sure. And this is going to call images of ostrich. Is that? Y'all, I got to Google this. Wow, I was right. Okay, great. Maybe let's, you know what, while we're at it, let's check llamas. Uh-huh. Cute. Okay. So what these are going to do is I'm going to use these to pass in a string of llamas and ostrich, and then we'll mix that into our canvas. So let me head over here. Yeah, llama ostrich party. Okay. So here's what I'm going to do. For my JS, for these button friends, the additional button friends, I'm working down here. Let's open up my JS here. All right. I'm going to head up here to my variables. All right. So let's say I'm going to call these button1 vars, and then I'm going to do some button2 vars. And let's say, let's say red button. Okay. So here we go. We are going to, so we're not using the input for these. We're going to need to do some variables for the buttons itself. So let's say var red button 1, and then a variable for red button 2. Okay, great. So pretty much the same exact thing we have to invoke down in our variable updates, but we don't have to worry about the input for these. So let's head down here, and let's do, I'm going to just grab this comment. And actually, you know what, I'm just going to grab this whole thing just so I don't have to worry about copy and pasting Would I name those buttons? Okay, great. So what I want here is I want to do, so I'm going to get rid of this var keyword, right? Because I just want to update these. And then red1 var will say updates. Updates, okay? So just like we did for the other buttons, we want to tether it to a piece of HTML, and then we also want to add a mouse press. So we have red button 1 is equal to a select, and the ID that we want to connect it to is going to be, we're going to use the individual identifier, button red 1 and button red 2. And then again, just the buttons red is the highest level class that we're using to be able to just like style them and not have to style them individually, right? So that way we can just style them all at the same time, especially if you want to add more buttons, then they'll all have the same style. So great, we'll put that there. And then we're going to do the buttons, red buttons 1. We're going to update it again. So the first update is obviously just a tether to the HTML. And then the second update, again, is a select. And, whoop, not a select. I just lied to you. That's not right. We're going to do the mouse press. Okay? And let's leave this function blank right now. Okay? So let's update this friend here. I'm just going to do this because I'm lazy. The assignment operator. Okay. Button red 2. Okay, so again, we're just tethering this button to the piece of HTML. To be specific, this is the HTML element that we are tethering it to. Okay, and then we're going to call the mouse press on it. Like so. Meow, meow, meow. Great. Okay, so we'll leave this blank until we actually create the API function, okay? So let's go down here and let's just say API functions for red buttons. Great. And we can just copy and paste this to get started. Okay, and we're going to need 2 of these, right? So we're going to need one for gif add r button 1, and then another one for the gif add r button 2. Okay, and so there's some major differences here in what we're going to be doing with the API call. So for this one, okay, we're not using the input and we're no longer using value. We're actually just going to pass this a string, okay? So for button 1, we want to get images of llamas. So what I'm going to pass in to that URL concatenation call, what did I just do? Did I just delete something over here that I didn't want to do? Yep, I sure did. Okay. I want to delete this. Yes. Okay. I'm going to pass a string in here. Llamas. And then in this one, I'm going to pass the string of ostrich, which I now know how to spell. Ostrich. Great job. Okay. So then what I want to do, let's go back up here. We'll just take it slow. And let's find the... All right, so the... Great. So the mouse pressed functions, right? Okay. Actually, you know what? Let's fix these first. Let's go down. Let's fix the red buttons first. Okay, so there's a couple other things. We don't want got data 3 in here anymore, right? And let's just get rid of these console logs. You can add them in if you really want, like, you know, the console log URL. But let's just get rid of this because we're calling in an explicit string. Jesus. So we just kind of don't really need that anymore. And we could leave the console log URL in there because that'll send what's happening here in, okay? So in the JSON update, again, so we got to go back down here, the image functions, and we need to make 2 new image functions, okay? So we're going to make 2 new image functions. So image functions for red buttons. Okay, so let's call this got data RB1, and then let's do a got data RB2 friend. All right, and then what we need to do is we also need to create a variable to hold our image. Okay, so perhaps before we go do that, let's head back up and let's just make sure that we have everything the way it needs to be. Okay, so this got data RB1 function is what we're going to be calling in the function for that first red button. Okay, so we're going to add this here, right? And then we will also add the image function for the second one, right? So the image function is going to go in the second red button here. Okay, so last thing that is still unresolved is just, okay, so again, we just need an image to sort of carry around this individually created image, okay? That's pretty important. So we're going to head all the way back up to our variables. Okay, so the other thing that we need to add here is we need to add a variable for our image for, let's do image for red, so we know these are for the red buttons. Or you could do image for llamas or ostrich, you know, whatever makes sense, and then image 5. Okay, and then we also need to make some HTML containers, some HTML elements to hold these images, okay? So we're going to do, in our canvas, we'll add 2 more IDs, 2 more divs. We'll call input, you know what, these aren't inputs anymore. These are going to be red button image 1. And then we'll do red button image 2. Great. Okay, so now that we have our image variables, we're going to head all the way down, back to where we were, to those image functions. Okay, great. So these are the ones for the red buttons. Okay, so we named these functions, these variables, image 4 red, image 5 red. So let me grab this so I don't forget it. Head down here. Okay, great. So image 4 red here. Okay, and then image 5 red. Great. And then same thing here because we want to pass it, we want to update it on that first line, and then we want to pass it into a parent. Okay, so update on this first line, and then we want to pass it into a parent. Okay, and then we need to tell it what parent it's going to be passed into. So the parents that we're using are going to be red button image 1 and red button image 2. And red button image 2. Okay, so let's save. That was a lot of code. Okay, y'all, so I went over here and tried to see if I could get this to validate, and I realized that I forgot to do one thing. So on this mouse pressed, right, I need to call the function that I declared for this, okay? So we have gif add button 1, okay, again, which is tethered to the got data red button 1 function, right? Same thing here, okay? So these are the functions that I have to call on mouse pressed up here for my red buttons, okay? So I'll just call those in here. Gif add red button 1 and then gif add red button 2. Okay, great. And then I will review everything once I get this to validate. So let's try that. Llamas. Great. Okay. It's a very strange GIF. Ostrich. Excellent. Excellent work, everyone. Okay. So now, again, what I can do is, because I've passed that into a separate piece of HTML, right? So I have red button image 1 that I pass it into. Can head over here, okay? And we'll do an ID of red button image 1 and an ID of red button image 2. And then let's also go ahead and just invoke the image as well. Okay, great. And I'm just going to grab some of the style that I've been using for these other ones. Maybe we don't want to do that animation on everyone. So we'll just do, I'm just going to give it some like random positioning here. And we'll give it a size, a width of 10 VW. And maybe we can also try some blend modes on this one too. We'll do maybe a multiply. And for this to work, we obviously need a background color on its parent div. Cool. And then we'll do the same thing for, let's do like -90 on this one. Okay. And then, oops, my bad. We'll do the same thing on the other div holder for the image. Right position absolute, left 15, top 30, and then we'll give it a width of 10 VW, and let's give it, let's give it another kind of transform. Let's say I like a skew. Try skew. I think it's VW. Let's check it out. CSS skew. Yeah. Yeah, okay, so it's degrees. Transform. No, not rotate. Get out of here. Give me the skew, friend. Scale. Scale, 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 skew. Okay, yeah, so it is degrees. Just wanted to check on that. I don't know, 50 degrees. Let's see what happens. Okay, so now we got some style for them, and then tried another blend mode of multiply on a green background there. Right. Oops. So let's try a hello, enter, do a llamas. Okay, excellent. Got our blend mode rocking. And then we got our ostrich. Ooh, excellent work. I really like this. So I'm liking the what happens with the blend mode, but also you could still use this background color, right? So you could just get rid of that that blend mode, right, on the actual image. Multiply. Let's see, where was that? Oh, oops, that's actually an opacity. So we could get rid of opacity, still do this green, right? Have this like really weird, fun image. And then, since we're here, let's just put the animation on there. Let's just see. Let's throw this animation on there. I think that's on, yeah, that's 2. Ostrich is 2. So actually, let's put that on. Let's see if we can put on the image. Maybe the image will just spin. Oh my god, y'all. This is so cute. So ridiculous. Great. So then some other things to consider, obviously, is, just the CSS of how you're laying everything out. But I think y'all should kind of have that figured out at this point. All right, the only other thing that we probably want to invoke at this point is just this clear function. So I'm actually just going to go inside of some example code here. So I'm going to head over to this example code, and I'm just going to get the clear functionality on off of here, okay? So the way that we're going to do this is we're going to call a function called clear canvas, and we're going to just remove the images, all right? So what we need to do is we need to invoke the image variables that are actually holding the image, and then just say remove. Okay, so we're going to do that inside of draw. And then we're also going to invoke a this clear function. Okay, so here's how we're going to do this. Let me head over here. Okay, so we should have a clear button. Great, so we have an ID called clear. So in draw, this is really important that it goes inside of draw at the very end of your project. So draw friend here, okay? We're going to say var clear is equal to, let me just check this here. Yeah, so var clear is equal to select clear. Okay, and then mine's also called clear, I believe. Yep, perfect. Okay, and then we're going to call a function inside of draw. All right, we're going to call a function, define a function, and let's name it, yeah, let's name it clear canvas. So, great, so we'll name it clear canvas. Meow, meow, meow. All right, and here's what we're going to do. All of our image variables, right? So we should have a number of image variables, which we can find up here, right? So we have image, image 2, image 3, image 4 red, image 5 red, okay? So I'm just going to copy this one, and then I'm going to have image 3 to an image, all right? So inside of here, inside of the function clear canvas, I'm going to do image, I'm going to do img2, img3, image 4 red, image 5 red. All right, and I'm just going to call that dot remove on them because that's just going to take them out of the canvas. Okay, no space here. All right, and then what we want to do is on this clear, which is synonymous with this piece of HTML here, we want to call the clear, like so just like we did here, mouse press, and then inside of mouse press, we want to invoke our clear canvas function. Boom. Okay, so let's just shore up our project. All right, so we have this this clear function. Let's just see how this runs. Okay, so cake. All right, llamas, ostrich. Okay, great. So that should work just fine. It should also validate even if you only put one function in there. I was having some trouble with it validating earlier, and it was throwing some errors, just to be honest, but it seems like now it's working just fine. So no errors here. Okay, so what we're going to do next is we're just going to kind of shore up our project. So I'm just going to kind of move some things around and just going to add some additional CSS. And then I'm going to revisit that show hide that I did earlier during our first tutorial. So